This is looking very familiar. In the bottom right is Wallace as Brown. And in the left position is NoisE as White. And I say this is familiar because this is exactly the same position Elegant was in yesterday. Where NoisE up 2-1 versus Wallace. NoisE, and then the next game is on Outsider. By far NoisE's best map. And it's like, oh, how does Wallace get back? How, does he cheese? Is this the time Wallace tries cheese again? Because last time he cheesed, he just got out-cheesed. But, I mean, the game plan for NoisE is pretty obvious. He's going to go drops, and he's going to go drops a lot. So, you have two options. Either you cheese him before he gets to drops, and just try to kill him off, or you play a very, very good game, and just shut down Vulture harass everywhere. After that last game, I'm not sure Wallace is up to it. Because he played really scared. And even when he was playing scared and kept all of his Dragoons very close to the chest, he was still taking probe damage from the random dropship coming by with 4 Vultures. I think his best option here is to cheese on this map. I'm not saying he needs to cheese to beat NoisE in general, but on this map, I really think cheesing is his best option. Alright, so NoisE is going to send out his scout now. Wallace has yet to send out his. It is a 3-player map, so he won't just send his goons in the right direction automatically. There we go. Now sending out that probe. Probably won't come back to haunt him. It doesn't look like NoisE is doing anything particularly aggressive here. And the probe will be going in the right direction anyway, so despite the fact how late the scout was, he's still going to get the scout before Terran. There's one factory. Now, NoisE does 2-fact rather frequently, so it'd be quite nice to keep this probe alive. In fact, there's not a Marine making, or there was not a Marine making until just now. So that's a pretty late Marine. I wouldn't be surprised at this point if it was the same kind of build he did last time. A 2-fact into lots of drop. Immediate lots of drop. We'll see. We do have an SCV. Nope. I was going to say the SCV is standing there suspiciously, as if he wants to throw it out of the next factory. But that will not be the one who does it. Oh, okay. He's just rallying. His SCV's there. There we go. And what are we doing after this, NoisE? What are we doing after this? Okay. So, it's not exactly going to be a 2-fact. He is still getting pretty high on the gas, but getting spider mines, and he's probably going to get a second siege tank after that. Alright. Robo facility for Wallace. So once again, Wallace with the 1-gate robo. Now, Reavers are quite a popular option on this map, so it wouldn't be too surprising to see him go Reavers, but at the same time, he already did this build once before in this series, where he did not go Reavers. And that game worked out for him in the end, but I'm still not a particular fan of that build. We're going to be trading 1 Dragoon for 2 Marines, and getting some damage on some other ones. 1 more Marine going down. And that Dragoon just barely getting out of there, only 11 health on it. Oh, tank. There we go, tank gets a kill. So far 3 Marines and 2 Dragoons gone. And now the Dragoon's running away. I think it's just trying to run away and draw the Terran out from actually being able to do anything significant over the natural. Should be a pretty strong move. If Wallace is feeling that maybe he wouldn't be able to hold it off. I think it does cost him, yeah, it does cost him the Goon. But did some damage to the tank, did delay. And now he certainly has enough Goons out that that's not going to be a concern. He's going to be for another observatory. And Wallace, it looks like Wallace is excuse me, is just going for the scout now. He already has the observer out, so I don't know how much quicker this scouting SCV is going to get him there. And the scout does come out. SCV notices it, so can he get some units back in time? No. He's not going to be able to get any units back in time to prevent the probe from seeing anything. Probe gets a full scout off, and yeah. Nothing too spectacular yet. Starport hasn't gone down, which it will inevitably rather soon. So, NoisE's first vultures, wanted to use them for harass, but accidentally running into running into the goons a little bit too soon. I assume speed, yeah, speed researching might be what NoisE is waiting for before he really starts making pushes with the vultures. That's completely reasonable. Now checking up here just to make sure that there's not a hidden expo, not any kind of tech. And then lay some mines down. Excuse me. Alright. Finally, we do have the starport from NoisE, and he is getting the dropship a little bit later than I would have expected, but it's still coming, and that's what matters. That is the second expansion for Wallace, as he already has this one most of the way done, but still, it's going to be much, much later than NoisE's expansion. As you can see, already 150 gone from a mid-roll patch. So, it's going to be 200, maybe 250, excuse me, maybe 250 minerals before Wallace starts really mining from that. Does have this one up, though, so that should help. And he is getting, guys mining from there. So, vulture drop coming in, going to try to avoid this base. Just, there's not a whole lot of probe harass to be done there, and doesn't want to be scouted, although does run in vision range of a goon. So the goons know what he's trying to do here. And the probe transfer, ooh, just a little bit too late to catch that. But the vultures are going in, laying more mines, and I mean, this is the game that Wallace chose to play. He knew this was coming. He absolutely had to know he was coming. I'm doing a much better job of defending it this time. Oh, but no. Oh! Just as I say that, goons in the mineral line, activating mines. This goon should have died. It only had 1 hit point left. Never mind. He is not doing a good job of defending against it. But a very preemptive lift of the goons up here. Does not want to have to deal with tanks. Interesting. Do we have the dropship loading up again? He's making another dropship. There we go. Tanks coming in, and this time the tanks are going to be on the other side. If he can siege the tanks up here, they'll be out of vision range, and it'll still be very strong. He is flying just barely in range of the pylon in the Cybercore vision, possibly. Yeah, it looks like Wallace did know about that, so he almost got the probes out in there in time. Only took one volley, and really, the dropship's going to live, so still successful for NoisE. Still successful for NoisE. So now 2 dropships, one with tanks, one empty right now. Those 2 Dragoons on the high ground are going to be annoying, but if NoisE really wants to drop up there, he can do it. Just loading it up with 2 tanks, 4 vultures, or 2 tanks and a bunch of marines would work. But now loading up with 4 tanks total. Vultures are out in the middle of the map, getting hit by the Dragoons there. And looks like he's going to siege up the low ground and then use those tanks to help out in the attack up on the high ground. Hopefully doesn't splash himself too badly. Doesn't look like he did. But now he has 4 siege tanks up on this high ground. And Wallace, there is a shuttle. He can start ferrying in units, but there are so many siege tanks on the low ground that, I mean, splash does become a factor, but I don't think it's going to be that much of a factor. I think that this is going to be a rather strong attack from NoisE. Does he have a way of dealing with that shuttle? There are a couple marines here. I think the next load up he does up here... Ooh, did he lose all the dropships? No, he still has 1 dropship. Going in for some harass on this side. If he lands it over here, not going to be in range of cannons. Everything's going to be fine. Ooh, almost loses the dropship, but not quite. And now, this Nexus is going to be under siege, I guess, after that pylon goes down. Vultures on this side getting 4 kills before Wallace pulls the probes. Wallace's supply block's not an issue, so the pylon doesn't really matter, but he's only on 3 gateways, now throwing down 4 and 5, just trying to get something out to deal with this and not lose this Nexus, because that would be a huge blow at this point in the game. But it looks like he might just do that. If he loses this Nexus, the probes are going to have to transfer back up this ramp, which won't be hard for the vultures at all to just park over here and pick them off as they do it. Didn't quite get the vultures there in time, but still the Nexus is down, and looks like these Dragoons are going to be lost as well. Wallace, you can't handle the dropships, man. These dropships are just too strong. Siege tanks sieging up yet again on a very safe location. Now 20 kills between those 2 siege tanks. Very, very nice. And he could try to re-siege them a little bit closer, but I don't think he's going to be able to do too much more with those siege tanks there. He still just has a very, very nice army. Just sitting outside, waiting to move in, waiting for the right time. Meanwhile, back at home, letting the macro slip a little bit, but he is expanding over here. I think he's going to go for double gas again. Which, in the games we've seen him play on Outsider, he gets the double gas, but hasn't been able to really put it to good use. He just starts soaring in terms of gas count. We'll see if he's able to do anything with it now. Vulture's coming in, doing a whole mess of damage to the probes. More than half of them dying right there. Now, Wallace going for the break. He might just be able to get it. Oh, there's no units in the shuttle. Yes, there was 1 zealot in the shuttle. And it's going to be just enough, it looks like. Just barely enough. Very, very close, though. And in fact, it's not quite going to be enough. There was 1 vulture that manages to live through all of that. Still, for all intent and purposes, the attack is over, but it's done so much damage. Sieging up on the right side now. God, this is why Outsider is too good of a map for NoisE. It's just too damn good of a map for him. Like, when game planning for NoisE, this is where you bust out the cheese. You either bust out the cheese or just kind of accept that the game's just not going to go your way. And that's fine. Whatever, there are other maps where you can't be this abusive with dropships. So, It doesn't look like this Nexus can be saved. I don't think Dragoons can get into a good position to actually attack the tanks. So that Nexus is going to be lost, leaving Wallace with just 2. This one with no probes. Oh, wait. The probes are transferring back. Okay, so these 2 expansions. This one's almost depleted. This one was mineral only. And not many probes left over. And dropping... not only the 2 vultures that were left there are never killed, but dropping 4 more vultures and 2 tanks. Just to make sure that the expansion could not do anything. And Wallace... it's 135 to 52. It's like, what do you do? What do you do as Wallace? Man. So, looks like a Dragoon was lifted over, took care of the tank, and the Nexus will be saved. Barely. This Nexus, on the other hand, under siege yet again, may or may not be saved. Loading up 4 vultures and 2 tanks over to this side to attack this expansion a little bit more. NoisE did want to get the double gas, but hasn't quite kicked it in yet. Even building another command center here? Is he going to lift that command center over to this mineral only? Seems a little bit weird, but alright. Siege tanks on both sides now. The Dragoons are going to drop in. Can the Dragoons clean this up? Yes, I think, because the siege tanks aren't actually attacking them. They're a little bit too close. No, they can't. They'll well, I don't know if they'll be able to clean it up, but they weren't able to kill the siege tanks before that Nexus goes down, as it was already so injured. This Nexus losing a lot of health too. In NoisE threatening to move up this ramp. Wallace under 50 supply. And Wallace is going to be denied the finals. Now 2 ASL in a row. NoisE wanting me to catch the fact that he wanted to get Ghost this game. But didn't quite have enough time. Like, I don't think Wallace is going to stay in this game long enough to let him get nukes out. Or lockdown, whichever one you were actually planning on going for. Seriously, you've done vulture harass on the sides, you've done tank harass on the sides. You're just gonna drop 8 ghosts and just like, aha, 16 lockdowns. Yes, I have stopped your mining for 2 minutes. Mwahaha. Alright, looks like Cloak first. There's the nuke. Is Wallace going to stick around long enough? Uh-oh. This does not look like a person who is going to stick around in this game very long. Wallace! Dude, you have a chance! If you just don't do shit, it'll be fine. Well, actually, DDs are working out pretty well. Oh. Scan! Ah! Foiled by Scan again. GG. NoisE will advance 3-1 in his own league and play against Juan's Battle of the Fox player. Excuse me. Battle of the Fox players. And in the 3rd, 4th place match, we have Wallace versus John O'Man, which should be a good PvP. Alright. Thank you to NoisE, not only for being a player, but also for being a sponsor. Along with Reclusive and Sale, giving us our prize, giving us our prize purse for the store. Thank you to Shimmy for organizing, and thank you all for watching. Finals will be next week. I don't know what time. Probably the same time. Probably this time next week. So, I will see you all then. I'm gonna go get me some breakfast.